Howdy friendos, Crazy Jason here, and welcome to my weekly roundup. That's right. So I have Blu-rays only this week, no DVDs, and I'm kind of going through that transitional phase because last week I told you guys my complete list of movies that I'm watching this October, my Halloween horror movies. If you want to, check that video out, look over here to the right, or I'll put the link in the underballs, and you can check that out if you haven't seen it. But at the same time, I made some purchases right at the end of September, at the beginning of October, so I want to be talking about Blu-rays today that are non-horror related. Because as we move further into October, I'm really going to be watching more and more horror films. And towards the end of the month, probably almost exclusively horror films. So let's get started. And by the way, if I have time at the end of the video today, I'm going to answer some more questions. Because I know, and I do apologize, it has been a long time with this Q&A. I've just been trying to figure out how to fit it in with all the other videos. So I'm going to try to get through these Blu-rays and try to answer some more of your questions at the end of the video. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Okay, so let's dig in. First up, Tron Legacy. Blu-ray, yes, but the 2D edition, not the 3D edition. That kind of makes me feel like I'm holding up the DVD and I haven't made the leap to Blu-ray. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's not in 3D, now it's not good enough. I don't know. But it looks damn fantastic. I saw this originally in theaters, and speaking of 3D, I saw it in the local IMAX in 3D. Very grandiose, really great, but the 3D glasses bother my face. I can't sit there for more than 5 minutes without having to hold them up off of my face. They just really bother and give me a headache. But I was a little let down by the movie when I initially saw it. I had big expectations going in. I had not seen the original Tron in years. Many years. And I actually wanted to revisit the original Tron on Blu-ray before I saw Tron Legacy. But they didn't release it. They waited until they released this on Blu-ray. So I didn't really want to go back and try to find it on DVD. I didn't even own a copy of it. To tell you the truth, I never was the biggest Tron fan. I enjoyed the whole idea of it, but I know there's a whole legion of fans out there, just as big as, Star Wars. People think of Tron as some of us would think of Star Wars or Star Trek. So, yeah, I know this is... I don't want to make this a divisive issue, but, upon revisiting it, I picked this up recently, actually field trip over at Kakalaki Movies, the very last one we did, I think. I picked this up at a pawn shop. A friend of mine recommended that I pick up the Blu-ray and give it another shot, give it another whirl and see what I thought. And I did enjoy it more in the comfort of my home, just kicked back, watching it on Blu-ray. But it's still just not, I don't know, it's a good movie, but it's not great. It missed out on the greatness factor. This is not going to be a classic science fiction film 20 years from now. Not in my opinion. I think they missed the ball. One thing is they just sort of gloss over the whole idea of the internet. And I understand what they were going for. They didn't want to go for the obvious. They didn't want to go for the obvious thing of the internet and what the world has become since the original Tron came out. But by doing that, I think they limited themselves to this small little world. And but beyond that, I found the characters somewhat paper thin. The story just seemed kind of thrown together, honestly, and again, really sort of thin. And I don't know, I just couldn't really get immersed into it that much. And that's the same problem I found in the theater, but I don't know, I enjoyed it. It's visually stunning, don't get me wrong. If you haven't seen it, Blu-ray is definitely the way to go. Definitely should. I don't even know who would watch it on DVD. That's just insane. Movies like this, movies like Avatar, why would you even bother watching them on DVD? But yeah. One thing that did bother me though, the scenes that were shot for IMAX were incredible. They're just absolutely beautiful, beautiful scenes. And when it goes back to the 1:7:8:1 aspect ratio, I don't mind that, the cutting back and forth, like The Dark Knight. You know, you go from the full screen to a 2:3:1 aspect ratio. That doesn't bother me. It doesn't take me out of the movie. What does bother me is the marked difference in resolution. And the choice that they made to shoot the regular scenes, I guess we'll call them, the non-IMAX scenes, on a Phantom HD camera and another HD camera. I really thought those scenes should have been shot on film. I don't know. See, let's take The Dark Knight for instance. The IMAX and then the scene shot on 35mm film was fine. It looked fine. You know, obviously there was a lot more detail in the IMAX because IMAX shot on 65mm film, which is nearly twice the gauge of 35. You know, you've got 35mm, which is like that, and then, you know, 65mm. I mean, there's so much more resolution. So, yeah, I detected a lot of video noise, and that sort of bothered me. But overall, outstanding picture quality, outstanding audio quality. It's just the movie itself, and the character who played Sam Flynn, the son of Flynn. I could take him or leave him. You know what I'm saying? In other words, I could have seen almost any other actor playing that role. And I can think of a few other actors who would have done a better job. Ryan Gosling comes to mind. Yeah, so he was just kind of, you know. The dude did a great job. A little too dude-like, though, I have to say. Oh, and how can I not finish this review without mentioning the creepy CG work they did on the young Flynn there, the young dude. Excuse me, need a little libation. Very subpar CG work on the face. I mean, I really expected more. I mean, after Avatar, come on. And I realize those films were made, you know, somewhat simultaneously. Then again, can you imagine what it's going to look like in 10 years? I mean, you know, you take someone like Jeff Bridges and you make him 30 years old. Motion capture uses voice, but, you know, I don't know. It's technology is moving in that direction, but they dropped the ball on the work here. They really did on the character work. I'd almost wish they had made all of the characters, they had just done motion capture on all of the actors and made them all look like that. So in some sense we could say, okay, this is how they look in this virtual world. You know, maybe. That's stretching it, but at least that's something I could have held on to. I didn't believe Clue, you know. I couldn't stop looking at his lips. They were so fake, and the dead eyes. Not good. So overall, you know, it's definitely an experience. It's worth it, you know. I don't know if it's worth owning. Some of you may love it. You may disagree with me. That's fine. I'm not saying I hate it by any stretch of the imagination. But I give the film itself a 3.5. I give the PQ a 4.5, and I give the sound a 4.5. Okay, moving on. Next up, Chloe, which I believe I talked about the DVD in one of my updates way back. I picked up the DVD at a pawn shop for $2 when it just came out. Picked up the Blu-ray for $1 at that awesome Blockbuster sale. Man, those were the days, huh? Blu-rays for $1. But yeah, I went ahead and took it, and I made the Blu-ray DVD combo pack out of it. The Blu-ray, I did want to talk about it. The Blu-ray is a marked increase. Not a marked increase. That's going a little bit too far. It increases everything. The resolution, the colors pop, the blacks are nice and inky. The only problem is sometimes you lose some of the detail in the blacks. But then again, you know, and another thing, again, I keep harping on it, but the audio, you know, the audio is one of the big things that differentiate Blu-ray from DVD, and that's a big step up. Since I talked about this in another update, I'm pretty sure, I can't quite remember, I should have gone back and done my research. I don't want to go into it too much, other than to say that this movie is right up my alley. It's in the tradition of Fatal Attraction. You know, you have the husband and the wife, and then you have the outside woman who turns out to be crazy. I don't want to get into the entire story and everything, but this is just the sort of psychosexual thriller that I absolutely love. So, just wanted to give a mention that the Blu-ray is definitely worth the upgrade. Now, last but certainly not least, and you're thinking, last? Already crazy? Last? Well, that's because I'm going to talk about this beast right here. This Gladiator Braveheart 2-pack. First of all, I picked this up at Costco for $18 or what have you. And let me say, that is a fantastic deal. If you can't get a Costco, you can get it on Amazon for pretty much the same price. And I would definitely go for that because, for instance, these movies sell separately at Walmart for $20 a piece. So, good deal. Also, even more importantly, on Gladiator, you're guaranteed the updated version, and you know that by the yellow UPC code. Most of you probably know this, but for those of you who don't, let me tell you, when they first released Gladiator, it was a horrible transfer. I never saw it, but I heard it was just, you know, the worst, one of the worst looking Blu-rays. You know, DNR was employed to the maximum effect, to, you know, waxy faces and, you know, all that shit. So they went back and they remastered it and they put out this version, and so you need to look for that yellow UPC, because I was in Walmart last night and they had a section of Gladiators for $20 a piece, and just out of curiosity I looked through, and they had about 7, and 3 of them had the white UPC code. So, you do have to be careful, because you can, you know, always look for the yellow, okay? Alright, so, but I didn't want to talk about this one first. I actually wanted to talk about Braveheart first. Now, I remember the first time I saw this, I thought it was a great, epic movie. Then many years pass, and I come back to it now on Blu-ray, and there's something very big that does not work for me. Let me get to that in a minute. Before I get to that, let me say that I had to watch this movie in 4 parts. This really fucking got on my nerves, and it may be a reason why I didn't enjoy it as much as I should have. You know, I started it, I got interrupted, you know, I had to go do something, I got a phone call, whatever. The second night, I got sleepy, had to go to bed. And finally, by the time I got to the 4th time I was going to try to finish the movie, I was like, fuck it, I'm tired of fucking Braveheart. And I knew all I had to look forward to was him getting, you know, taken prisoner and then being stretched out and having his balls cut off. So, you know, I decided not to finish it. Let me go ahead and get the way this Blu-ray looks out of the way. It looks great. It really does. Really filmic. It's one of those transfer that's really got some nice film grain. The only problem is, and I've run across this in a few movies lately, in some of the darker scenes, the reds get really smeary. There are a lot of reds in this movie. I don't know, that just seems like the colors just smear together. It just looks horrible. And I know it's not my plasma, because there are very similar scenes in Gladiator, and it does not do that. It does not have that effect. The colors are nicely separated, and the blacks hold. So, I don't know. For that reason alone, I would knock the PQ down from a 5 to a 4.5 on this copy. But here's the thing that doesn't work for me with Braveheart. And the thing that doesn't work is that right there on the cover, Mel Gibson. Not Mel Gibson, the director. Mel Gibson, the director, in my opinion, is one of the greatest living directors we have. Braveheart, he knows how to make a... Braveheart is a blueprint for how to make an Academy Award-winning film. If you want to make a movie that's gonna win an Academy Award, study Braveheart. But yeah, no, Mel Gibson, when he made The Passion, that's when I knew that he was a real filmmaker to be reckoned with. He made, in my opinion, a masterpiece, a work of art. And again, if some of you know, I don't use those terms lightly. Now, here's my problem. Mel Gibson actually in the film. That's my problem. Horrible miscasting. First of all, I don't understand his age. Like, I think the character should be in his 20s, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe in the historical sense, maybe he was 40 years old. But it just didn't jive. When he shows up, he's a kid, and then he goes away, and he comes back, and he's a 40-year-old man, or however old he is, and he wants to settle down, and he wants to have a farm and a wife, and the wife is younger. I don't know, the age just, it kept taking me out of the movie. The other thing is, he was making those wacky, fucking Mad Max eyeballs, or the fucking, his character in Lethal Weapon with the crazy eyes, that took me out of the movie too, because it's like, okay, that's Mel Gibson, that's not the character, that's fucking Mel Gibson. So, in my opinion, colossal misstep on the casting of Mel Gibson as the main character. I'm sorry, somebody else should have played it, and he should have just stayed behind the camera, because as I said, he's a fantastic director. All that being said, I still give the movie a 4. I'd rate it higher, but the casting, PQ 4.5, audio 4.5. Now, let's talk about Gladiator. Now, this is a fun movie. Now, there are things about this movie that make it a little bit silly. What's his name? I can never pronounce his name. Joaquin, whatever the fuck, Phoenix. You know what I'm talking about. Leaf. His name used to be Leaf back in the good old days, back in the 80s. But yes, this movie, Russell Crowe, Russell Crowe is one of my favorite actors. He's very good in it, all the acting across the board. But Joaquin, whatever his name is, he really hammed it up. And so the character was a bit silly, a little over the top. At the same time, it was fun, I don't know. This is just a great Blu-ray experience right here. This PQ rates a 5-star in my opinion. I don't give too many 5 stars. Who am I? Who am I saying? I don't give too many 5 stars out. But no, I do give this a 5-star. I give the audio a 4.5, and I give the movie itself a 4.5. It's just a great bunch of fun to watch. It's epic. I don't know. honestly, you have kind of like two stories going on. They intertwine, obviously. You have the story of Russell Crowe and he was a general, and then he was cast out. His family was murdered. He was taken prisoner and forced to be a gladiator. And then you see his rise as a gladiator. At the same time, you've got the new emperor. Again, Joachim. Why do I have to keep saying the goddamn name? Honestly, I enjoy the political intrigue more than the actual gladiator scenes. Fun as they are to watch. That's why I enjoyed the movie Rome, not the movie, the miniseries Rome so much. Rome, which is definitely in my top 10 greatest television shows of all time. Which I intend to get on Blu-ray one day, but all the machinations, all the behind the scenes, Caesar, the Senate, I love all of that stuff. And wanted to see more of that, but yeah. Again, great movie. And this 2-pack, guys, definitely worth it. If you haven't picked up these movies and you're looking to, I highly recommend it. Alright, let's check on the time and see how much time we have. We are running really late, folks, but I'm going to try to fit in a couple of questions here because I feel bad not getting to this Q&A. All right, first up from Big Al 1982. All right, if you could star in this Star Trek world, what crew would you pick and what job on what ship? I would definitely be the Next Generation. I could be on the Enterprise or any Galaxy class starship for that matter. I think I would like to be a holodeck technician. anything that would allow me to spend a lot of time on the holodeck is what I would like to do. Horror film. This is the same Big Al again. Another question. Horror film you would like to be killed in by what killer? Michael Myers. And any of the Halloween movies, really. That's just what came to mind. Let's see, moving on. Iconic 765 asks, Dear KJ, what are your thoughts on the Matrix trilogy? Are Reloaded and Revolutions worth owning on Blu-ray? Now, obviously I could go on, but I'm going to make this brief. I just have the Matrix, the Blu-ray book edition, and I really like that. The Matrix was a revolutionary science fiction film. Absolutely incredible. Reloaded and Revolutions, big disappointments, but recently I was, I don't know, a few months ago I was sitting down to eat some, have a dinner or something, and I just turned on the television because I didn't feel like putting anything in, and Reloaded and Revolutions was on, and you know what? If I come across that box set for a really cheap price, I'll probably pick it up because, the stories are convoluted and, I don't know, but it's worth revisiting. I'm going to move on. Mr. Leonard Shelby asks, who are your top 5 hottest female actresses? Okay. I have some new ones and I have some dead ones. So first up, Amanda Seyfried or Seyfried. I can't pronounce her last name, but Chloe. She's in the movie Chloe. Beautiful. Just the eyes, Kate Winslet. Oh, just curvaceous lusciousness. Just love Kate Winslet. Also fortunate that, in my opinion, one of the hottest actresses just so happens to feel the need to get naked in every movie she's in. Yeah, I don't know. Now, the last 3 they're all dead. Grace Kelly, Ingrid Bergman, and Bette Davis in her early years. But Grace Kelly and Ingrid Bergman, those women, those were beautiful. They just actress today cannot hold a stick to Grace Kelly or Ingrid Bergman as far as just beauty. And I think that Alfred Hitchcock really understood how to tap into their beauty and actually create characters for them, wherein you would fall in love with the characters. So yeah, that's that. Let's see what else. Dunny Dundutta asks, what are your top 10 horror movies of all time? You know what? I can't answer that here. I'm gonna make a separate video. I need to do a top 10 horror movies of all time video. That's definitely something I should do before, the end of the month. I'll try to get to that. But thanks for the question. I'm gonna do one more real quick. This comes from Cinema Kid 91. What's your favorite spot to sit at when you go see a movie at the theater? 5 rows back, dead center. That's it. Simple to answer that. Okay, folks, well, thanks for watching, and join me next time for my weekly roundup.